Hey guys, so my Nacet today is going to be shave 179, lots of dots. Going to be using all month Midnight Stag from Chiseled Face, notes of leather, gasoline, smoke, and wood. All month long is going to be this open comb from Timeless. It's the 68 gap. It's already got my blade loaded up, and you can see it's kind of vented, which is the way I store it between shaves so that we get good airflow. Here's the dry version of this Zenith B2 boar brush. It'll be kind of a quick shave tonight. The first shave I did with Midnight Stag, I believe, was on the 5th of the month, something like that. Roger Quintero lather bowl design, 3D printed by him for me. I appreciate that. And you can see this design linked to it in the description. So my first shave, like I was saying, with this soap was my traditional kind of wet method, where I have a lightly wet brush that I bring in, and then I lather. I load this brush up with that, and then I start lathering in the bowl, adding water as needed, usually in about half teaspoon increments, sometimes more at the beginning. Here's the yellowish soap. Still continues to smell manly and thick and wonderful and warm. A lot of gasoline type note, maybe gasoline and oil perhaps type note, and it's very strong in the beginning, but it is supported by the leather and wood and smoke and all those other things. All right, throw a little water on my face. 30 seconds is my usual load time when I don't know what to do about a soap. I looked at my notes, and 30 seconds gave me 6 passes of lather first time I used it. So let's try 20 today. The brush hasn't soaked for too long, but let's go ahead and use it anyway. Kind of a casual soap, casual lather today. Shake most of the water out is kind of per my custom. All right, 55, so we'll go to 15, just moderate pressure, moderate to light, and we'll see what 20 seconds of loading gives us. 3 more seconds, and there we go. Pretty fast. The Marco method takes a little bit longer, about twice as long to load. But then immediately you start on your face. I've done the Marco the last few days. This is, as you can see, it's kind of starting pretty airy and foamy. I might try dry loading this with a lot drier brush. See what happens. See if it stays more of like a paste or something, you know. Try to keep some of the air out of it. Now with that 30 seconds of loading, it took 3.5 teaspoons of water. Let's go ahead and shoot about 1.5 teaspoons of water in there, just to kind of be like the Marco method and speed things along a little bit. Another type of shave I'll do is just a kind of a non-Marco, but a normal face lather, where you kind of do like I just did, you know, load for maybe 20 seconds and go right to the face. I don't usually like it as much, but it's good to get good at different techniques. Looking good. Let's add the last half teaspoon, so now we have a full 2 teaspoons in the lather. And that's why I start with a kind of a dryish brush, just barely wet, with most of the water shaken out. Because then when I advise people about how much water I put in, if they want to try to, if they're having trouble with their lathers and they want to try to duplicate that, then they've got more objective measurements. If I come and just say 2 shakes out of your brush, well, what if your brush doesn't hold as much water as mine? It's harder to duplicate it then. Lather looks good. Let's kind of bring it down. Not bad. Let's add another half. Alright, that'll probably do. Wet my face again. Hard water is what I'm using here. And it is tepid / cool. Kind of a big brush, really. 26 millimeter, I think. Splays easily, but it's still got some firmness of backbone. So I call it a medium backbone brush. But the tips are still really soft. But you get a good massagey feel with it. Quick break in my experience so far with Zenith. Lather looks good. Maybe a little dry, but let's just roll with it. Show you the blade. Nacet. And there's the X down there, or the remnants of it. So tomorrow will be, right? I think so. Yeah, tomorrow will be 180. How about that? And we're not gonna, you know what I want to do today? I want to do, instead of all the blade buffing that I do, just kind of do one pass. And what I mean by that is I'm going to shave over a lathered area pretty much just once. There may be a little bit of overlap. What that means is I might have to do 4 or 5 passes. Because with this older blade, it's very smooth, comfortable, and it gives you a good cut, but you do have to do some buffing. You have to repeat over certain areas. All right, let's rinse. All right. Pass number 2. Left a little bit of water on my face to offset the lather, and it turns out it wasn't really too dry. I think it was about right. Second pass, cross grain now. My habit is to blade buff, so muscle memory may mean that I do some of that. Skin may like it better if I don't buff quite as much, you know. If it's only getting shaved in areas where I've got some lather. And there we go. Passes sure are quick, aren't they? Hey, spider in the sink. No, not anymore. All right, a little rinse. Kind of a half rinse, not going to worry about it too much. Just kind of a carefree shave. So Zenith makes badgers and boars and all that. They make a short and stubby if you want some more backbone, I think. Short and scrubby, I think. Got some neat handle options. I really like a couple of theirs. I like this one. Nice and kind of thick and easy for my big hands to hold. I believe that's the third pass. There we go. Rinse off. Got a good lather. Nice slick rinses. Pardon me. Sorry. Get a pretty good shave. This is going to be the fourth pass, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and do some buffing here, if I've, especially in certain areas, because I'm sure I'm going to need it. I don't really want to do another pass, just for the skin irritation factor, especially on my neck. Well, 20 seconds of loading, and I've still got plenty of lather left, so obviously that's good. Of course, when you use a soap day after day, you're going to leave a little bit of moisture in the soap, and so if you return back to it at that type of schedule, a lot of times you don't have as much load time to do because there's still some moisture inherent in the soap. If you bounce around like I normally do, then you have longer load times because it's had a chance to really dry out. I don't think I really need to do any blade buffing on my cheeks. So just make sure they're covered. It's my neck, especially the my right side. Stretching my chin up, tugging on my skin just a little bit to keep there from being any folds in my skin. A whisker? Oh, a boar hair, boar bristle. All right, do I need to do a touch-up? So that's 4 passes. And this looks pretty good, but let's do a touch-up and see if I can clean it up a little bit more. And this is when I'll bring the my Glide in, where Glide is a reference to the Gillette Glide, where you're kind of moving diagonal instead of just straight this way. So I'm going to tilt my razor head and just keep it very light. And this particular tilt is effective in this area, usually. Give me a good cut without stirring up any irritation. Now let's try a slide in the other direction. Ooh, I'll have to remember that. That's a good move. That's a good move for this little area right here. It's in a very good at a recessed point right here, and the hair turns a different direction. Often that area is what has just a little bit of length to the hairs. Not anymore. And that was kind of counterintuitive, the direction I was going. So that'll take some thought each time I do it until it becomes a habit, till it becomes kind of muscle memory. Because I don't want to twist it in the wrong way and have that against the grain flare up some irritation or cuts. All right, full rinse. All right, good rinse. Wipe the soap off and the moisture kind of by default. And I splashed a little water back on to help with the aftershave. So, as usual, Midnight Stag aftershave. Kind of a sweet, boozy scent to it. I get it as well as a few other guys out there. Not really any stinging. Good technique today. I tell you what, the only downside, it's kind of a heavy scent, and so, there's times where it might be a little thick, for you. But when I was eating cheese and crackers, or who knows, it wasn't really conducive to smell gasoline and leather for whatever I was eating at the time. So it does get in the way occasionally. But I like it. I like the scent. The menthol's hitting, a little burning is how I interpret menthol usually. It will last that for a couple minutes and then it'll shift into something actually cooling for me. And it makes my eyes water just a tiny bit. I can feel it in my eyes. I can see how guys in the morning would want this to kind of help them wake up and stuff. So I can see that. But I'm really happy with today's shave. Got a good cut. No irritation. One of the main things about the menthol is here I am shaving with this awesome soap that I like, and then I throw on the aftershave, but I don't get to enjoy that scent for like 20 minutes because of the menthol. Menthol takes over the scent. That's all I get. Well, that's the way it is. So after I'm in bed sleeping, the menthol will wear off and I'll be able to smell it. So there we go. How much water did I use? 2.5 teaspoons. And I felt that was a very good mix. Still have at least 2 passes here. So maybe 15 seconds next time. That's the viscosity that we're talking about here. We're not getting really any long stretches with a smaller amount of lather, but there we go. And this one I run a little drier than usual because it's kind of airy. And so I don't have the long elastic peaks like I usually do. But it does leave, despite its airiness, there are some airy soaps that don't leave resident on your skin surface a slick lubricative layer. But this one definitely does. And I think that's why it's such a good soap. Because it may be a little on the airy side. However, there's this nice layer of slickness that's left by the lather, and so it's attaching itself to your skin, which it has to do to protect you, and it's doing its job really nicely. And that thin layer, I think, maybe helps the razor to get closer to your skin. So it's a little on the rigid side. It's holding itself up. without any problems. It's not super wet. I mean, you could go slicker if you wanted to, for sure. I like to stay a little bit on the creamy side myself. Just on the creamy side. As wet as you can get while still being cold creamy is kind of my perfect zone that I try to hit. All right, I'm going to clean up. Here's the brush after a towel stropping. It'll probably eventually, you know, get a lot wider, but I don't really want it to. It's just really nice the way it is. Really happy with it. And put away the razor blade. Loosen up the head, have some air gap there like I started with. Give it a good rinse. And a shake for safety. I hold it that way so that nothing twists around. And we just put it away. For tomorrow, number 180. Put another dot on the little blade envelope. I told you how much water we had. 2.5 teaspoons this time. All right, nice close shave today. Comfortable. Good for my skin. The alcohol post-shave didn't bark at anything. Didn't burn too much at all. So we're good. It's a good, ninth day? 9th day of Austere August. So I hope there was something here for you. Looks like a change I might make for today. For tomorrow is to reduce the soap load a little bit because we don't need to use quite so much. I think we're good. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care. Have a good night.